Discounting the 6-day tour of the president to Western Kenya, where he called out Gachagua for incompetence, corruption, and saying that Kalonzo Musyoka and the other opposition members can't, outweigh him politically.
Without delving into the political comments of the president.
You said he did not campaign. He's not on a campaign mode. I'm just saying what he said in Western Kenya.
The fact is, it's not on campaign, but he was calling out on there's the president.
and you said, do you think those guys can defeat him?
As the president, they won't.
They won't.
That one is a tall order.
So why do you think he's campaigning then?
Something else to do. He's not campaigning. He's pushing his agenda. Remember his visit.
There's difference between an agenda, pushing an agenda, which includes policies that you must implement as the authority in the government of the day, and pointing out opposition leaders over their comments, incompetence, and even looking forward to 2027, saying that they cannot offset you from power.
The president's visit to Western, a fact for sure, has everything to do with the development agenda of the government. And as head of state, he actually was on duty. And if you look at many programs that he undertook in Western, particularly the sugar reforms, and we've seen the success in the sugar subsector and one of the key deliverables within the agricultural sector and the transformative agenda that he has spearheaded within the agricultural sector, which is underpinned in his manifesto. We've seen the doubling up in the production of cane in the entire Western. We've seen data with the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. Now we are crushing 84,000 metric tons per month of cane, while the country's consumption is at 40,000. And for the first time, we are not importing sugar. And you see the sugar importation since Moi era, there's a lot of sugar importation that destroyed the local cane production during Kibaki era, during Uhuru era. But in 2 years, there is a lot of turnaround. It's a story to tell. And for the first time, the cane farmers are earning bonuses. That's a fact for sure. These are indicators. These are not stories. And therefore, the president being present and visiting farmers and conversing with farmers and engaging in other developmental activities like establishing decent markets, part of the second pillar of promoting the MSMEs. And, you know, any economy to grow, you must stimulate and protect the MSME. So the president's visit and mission in Western was purely developmental. And when there is some interference from within the political ecosystem, like the comments from the naysayers, the president, as the leader of the country, has every right to call out. And the president has said many times, the problem of this country is incompetent leadership, conflict of interest, and corruption, which of course explains why even one person, Gachagua, was impeached on 11 grounds by the Senate. And we saw the
National
process. And so through this democratic process, somebody has been impeached.
Yeah.
And others should also be impeached. Nobody is a sacred cow in this country.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about improving governance so that we can deliver to the people of Kenya, I think it is important values of integrity and good governance and responsibility are key issues. And so when the president calls out points out on incompetent people based on data, and the president is so passionate, he doesn't want to be distracted in delivering the 5 pillars, and I don't think he's going to be distracted by the meeting that was there at the Chewy House.
We'll talk more about the meeting.
And so
why
the president has to communicate to the country that, look here, there is work to be done for the country. The transformational agenda of the country is not a walk in the park. It requires commitment. It requires competence. It requires people working together. It requires the country moving out of ethnicity. And if you look at the way
we'll talk about the ethnic part of everything.
Kenya, and the president has been very keen.
Honorable Susan, point taken.
We must extricate our country out of ethnic conclave and ethnic mongering And when you look at these guys who were in Bomas yesterday,
allow me to ask you.
Ethnic mongers who are so keen to try and pull down the development pillars of the president so that they can have an easy way in 2027. Right. But I dare say,
why do you think that
this is not going to succeed?
Thank you. And why then do you think, talking about merit and competence, why then does the president award incompetence?
Has he awarded incompetence anyway?
When he named his cabinet, 1 year later in 2023, August the 2nd at State House, he accused his ministers of incompetence.
It wasn't accusing the minister, but
he said some of
in reorganizing. What the president said, let us paraphrase, because
no, not paraphrasing. It's what's on record. He said,
you can be given a job, and you are very qualified in terms of your certificate, and you are unable to perform. We have seen it. We have seen even senior guys from the World Bank coming to government, and they are coming from World Bank. World Bank is one of the most. We are not able to one of the most.
Yes,
is one of
the issue cannot be about these two guys.
World Bank is one of the most reputable institutions in terms of getting professionals, getting someone who has been interviewed, given a job to work with the World Bank, to come and be in executive, and he's unable.
The point is then, Honorable Ruto, I'm trying to ask you, why is the political class, including, allow me to ask you the question.
Yes.
Why then do you name your cabinet ministers, then 1 year later, after appointing them, you decry that they're incompetent, you know more than they do, they don't pick up your calls, they change clothes at airports? I mean, why then in the first place? I mean, it must be a rigorous process where competence is awarded on the delivery, and Kenya apparently doesn't lack the pool of professionals to drive any policy.
Naming a cabinet is a political process.
It's a political process.
It's a political process, and remember, forming a government, you form a government politically. It's a political process. You became the end of government and end of state through a political process.
So does the political process, Honorable Ruto, then give you the license to award incompetence?
There is nowhere President William Ruto has awarded incompetence. Remember, there's nobody, actually none, who has been a cabinet secretary who does not hold a degree.
Well, it doesn't. I mean,
no.
Why did he decry? Why did he decry?
It's about.
Let's
talk about the attitude.
Yeah.
Attitude of whoever has been given this position as a cabinet secretary. Let's talk about the motivation. What is this motivating you to wake up every day and go to that office?
Honorable Ruto, it's a straightforward question.
We have
I'm asking you a straightforward question.
And I'm trying to answer you.
Yeah, in brief you can. Does the political process that you are supposed... Yes, the appointing authority is a political process, is a political animal by himself. But when that power is invested and mandated in you by the Kenyan people, they expect you to award merit, competency, and qualification. Why then do you come decrying to the Kenyan people that you are incompetent? I mean, you had appointed them. You have all the instruments of power. I should be knowing Honorable Ruto, who I am appointing in a cabinet portfolio, about what he does, how he has been performing, his track record, his academic qualifications. And then I come decrying that you are incompetent?
Ayup, we have seen not only in the cabinet, but also in other areas where someone will come and give you a lot of hope that indeed I can be able to perform this, do this assignment, and do this assignment with perfection. But whatever he does is totally opposite from what you expect him or her to do.
Okay. So due diligence is therefore very important. Yes, Honorable Onyonka, just allow me to get Honorable Onyonka.
Gosh, I really don't know where to start, because it's like, it's 25 paragraphs of our book. We have two tribes in Kenya. The tribe that steals, that mismanages the economy of this country, that employs its people according to their background in terms of location, where they were born or otherwise. It is a system whereby this tribe historically has always alternated between those who, tribe number one, that participates, disorganizing, breaking down this country, making sure that the systems which are in place don't work, making sure that everything that is supposed to be normal is abnormal, making sure that elections are never held as the law stipulates, planning on how these elections are going to be stolen, making sure that we completely, this one tribe. Then there is the second tribe which historically has fought for Kenya's independence from the colonial days, that has come up after independence, that has talked about the distribution of resources unequally, that has stood up and talked about this same thing we are calling tribalism. Kenya is a country, Ayub, and I can hear my brothers are kind of trying to throw what we call a red herring. Oh, you see, now these are tribalists who are ganging up. And you see these tribalists, they are coming in fight to fight because they are fighting for their tribes. And oh yes, it's because their tribe is bigger. When the Kikuyu community was voting for President William Ruto, and Gachagua said it, they knew he was not Kikuyu. They knew he was not. When historically Jaramogi was talking about, no, let us have a fair and equitable distribution of land in this country, and this distribution is from the historical injustices which have existed. Jaramogi was fighting for the Kikuyu community, talking about how some of them had been displaced. So this country has had two tribes. And I want my colleagues here to know that it has nothing to do with my race, my blood, my color, and my kinky hair, if that's what I have. It has nothing to do with it. Kenya is the only country, just like in America. Ayub, when you enter the United States of America, they tell you, you will be judged by the color of your skin and not the content of your character. What we have done in our country is that you will be judged by the color of where you come from, and we will demonize it depending on the how do I put it? Depending on the convenience of how we can use it against you. And how we, I mean, I saw yesterday, let me tell you how this tribal nonsense is absolutely obnoxious. I saw my brother Duale saying that the two individuals, one who's in charge of ESCC and the other one who's in charge of DCI, because people are questioning and we are oversighting their behavior and their performance in this government, he then said, we are telling them that they are not doing their job because they are from Northeastern. And most probably somebody is going to start saying, because they're Muslims. That's nonsense. What we've been saying is that if the president was doing his job, if the president right now had done certain things differently, we would be discussing here with my colleagues, discussing the advantages and disadvantages of those policy issues.
Okay.
But when we get the power, and this particular thing, Ayub, has nothing to do with President Ruto. That's how we are. When we are given an opportunity to employ Kenyans, what do? We employ our tribesmen, we employ our friends, we make sure that it is an exclusive arrangement which exists conveniently. Whether it's in the military, whether it's in the teaching profession, whether it is nursing, at least nursing, somebody has to have a grade. So the argument my brothers are talking about, that this is a group of disenchanted tribalists who are ganging up because their tribes are the ones who are, or if they get power, they will then benefit. That is not what the agenda is. The agenda is very simple. The country needs to be fixed. It needs honest and intelligent people to fix it. There are people who must be telling the president what is right and what is wrong, and our brothers need to stop thinking that all Kenyans seem to be so stupid that whatever that happens is just a story.
Thank you. And I'll ask whether the subscription you had to the have-nots, tribe number 2, as you have illustrated, will offer the salvation for the country. Council Harvey, I'll start with you when we get back from the break, as well as sound bites of the senator who was there yesterday. And we have an hour to go, so gentlemen, be easy. The hashtag on next is Citizen Day Break. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikadir. We are back with more after the break. Stay tuned.